We are now streaming.
Okay, well, good morning. This is the State and Local Government Committee. It is January 12th, 2022. And we have a public hearing on two bills today. And before we get started, though, we do have a quorum, and I would go around and ask people to introduce themselves, starting with Representative Copeland.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Lynn Copeland, and I proudly represent the folks in House District 14, which is coastal and downtown Saco. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Reisman.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Walter Reisman. I represent District 69, which is Bridgeton, Harrison, and Denmark.
Thank you very much. Representative Greenwood. Okay, I think you're on mute, Representative Greenwood. Representative Greenwood, I will come back, so give you a moment to look at the speakers or whatever. Representative Bryant, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Senator Baldacci. Welcome all. I'm Mark Bryant from Windham. I represent House District 24, by the town of Windham.
Okay, thank you very much. Representative Downs.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning. This is Kathy Downs. I represent District 130, which is Bucksport and Orrington. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Representative Head, good morning. You're on mute, Representative Head. There we
Yes,
go.
yes.
Thank you. Good
For
morning.
some reason, you have to press several buttons. Good morning, Senator Baldacci and everyone. It's good to see you. And we will my name is Fran Head, and I represent District 117. And it's 23 towns and townships in Oxford and Franklin counties. Sorry about this.
No problem. Thank you, good, Representative Head. Representative Toole? You're on mute now, too.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. I'm Representative Toole. I represent in the Chias area plus Lubec and Eastport. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Greenwood? Good morning.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can clearly now. Yep.
All right. My name is Randy Greenwood. I represent House District 82, which are the towns of Litchfield, Monmouth, and my hometown of Wales in both Androscoggin and Kennebec counties.
Thank you. And my co-chair, Representative Ann Matlack, good morning.
Good morning, Senator. My name is Ann Matlack. I represent the communities of Cushing, Thomaston, South Thomaston, St. George, Matinicus, Creehaven, and the Muscle Ridge Islands, which make up House District 92.
Great. And my name is Joe Baldacci. I represent Senate District 9, which is the city of Bangor and the town of Herman. So this morning we have a public hearing scheduled, and the committee is assembled electronically today for the purposes of inviting public comment on legislation. Before we get started, I want to share some information related to the fact that this meeting is being conducted using an electronic format. The meeting is being live streamed on the committee's YouTube channel. That means that anyone who is a participant in the meeting via Zoom can be seen and also heard if their microphone is unmuted. People on the Zoom meeting waiting to testify cannot be seen or heard until they are called upon to speak. This meeting will be recorded and available to view on the committee's YouTube channel soon after the meeting has concluded. If your name on the Zoom square is not the name you used to register to testify, it may be a bit of a challenge for us to identify you. So please make sure the name on your screen is consistent with the person who is testifying. Okay. Format is new to all of us, and we expect there will be unforeseen glitches and mistakes, but please be patient. We are doing our best, and we will all learn as we go along. A reminder to members of the committee about the use of the Zoom chat function. This function is not to be used for substantive discussions by anyone. You should know that the chat window can be viewed by any person taking part in this meeting as a participant. Participants include members of the committee, staff, and any member of the public during the time they have been promoted to participant for the purpose of providing testimony to the committee. All questions of persons testifying will be made through the chair. For each bill being heard today, I or my co-chair will call on sponsors and co-sponsors to speak first. When called upon, you will be promoted from attendee to participant. After presentation by sponsors and co-sponsors, we will call on members of the public based on how they registered to testify for the bill, against the bill, or neither for nor against the bill, but wishing to provide information. When you are called upon, I will ask you to state your name, your place of residence, and the organization that you represent. After you are done speaking and there are no more questions from the members, I or my co-chair will return you to the attendee status and call upon the next person registered to testify. It would be greatly appreciated if, when you are done offering testimony to this committee on the bills scheduled, that you exit the Zoom meeting. You may continue to watch the hearing on the committee's YouTube channel. If you need to exit the meeting before being called upon to testify, please be aware that you may submit written testimony at any time by accessing the legislature's testimony submission page. So let's see. Now I will open the hearing. Our first bill for today, I also want to introduce our clerk, Cheryl McGowan. Good morning, Cheryl. And our staff analyst, Lynn Caswell, who makes sure that we're navigating in the right direction. Lynn, good morning. So Lynn, our first bill is LD 1768, an act to allow private sale of certain state surplus property to state employees. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Our co-chair, Representative Matlack, is the sponsor, and I will turn the floor over to her.
Thank you, Senator Baldacci. Good morning, Senator Baldacci, respected colleagues on the State and Local Government Committee. My name is Ann Matlack, and I represent House District 92. I'm here today to introduce LD 1768, an act to allow the private sale of certain state surplus property to state employees. This bill allows the private sale of state surplus office equipment to state employees for the furnishing of home offices and requires that the equipment be priced in the same manner as for public sale. As we all know, over the last several years, many state employees have moved to remote work, and this will allow them to outfit their home offices in some respect with surplus equipment. This bill comes from the Department of Administrative and Financial Services, and I believe someone is here today to speak to the merits of this bill. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Representative Matlack. Any questions for Representative Matlack? Okay, seeing none, I think, is it Andrew Hart? Is that correct?
No, I'm sorry. Anya Trundy is here today. I believe she is.
Okay. So Cheryl, can you bring Anya in?
Yes, I apologize.
No worries.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Senator Baldacci, Representative Matlack, and honorable members of the Joint Standing Committee on State and Local Government. My name is Anya Trundy. I am the Chief of Legislative Affairs and Strategic Operations for the Department of Administrative and Financial Services. And I come before you this morning to offer testimony in support of LD 1768, an act to allow the private sale of certain state surplus property to state employees. LD 1768 is a relatively straightforward department proposal that would allow state employees the opportunity to purchase office furniture and equipment from state surplus via private sale. When DAFs conceived of this bill, we were preparing for the eventual return to the office and anticipating at such a time, many state employees would seek formal remote work authorization. Even though remote work currently continues on an emergency basis, many of us have been working from our home for nearly 2 years and may be looking to upgrade our temporary setups at our kitchen and dining room tables with more permanent workspaces. This bill would provide state employees access to office furniture and equipment in good working condition at a fraction of the off-the-shelf price, and the ability to shop at their leisure rather than having to go through the public sales held the first Friday of every month when state employees are typically working. Additionally, as the state reevaluates our office space needs and can consolidate into a smaller footprint, it would stand to reason that state surplus can expect to receive an influx of office furniture and equipment. This bill can help to match it with state employees furnishing their home offices. Current state statute provides similar allowances for private sales of state surplus property to homeless shelter sponsors, educational institutions, nonprofit organizations that have been determined to be exempt from taxation under IRC 501c, and more narrowly, computers to fire departments. We've taken several precautions in the proposed language to prevent abuse of this privilege. We've limited the scope of the sales to office furniture and equipment, and we've stipulated that items shall be priced the same as they are for public sale, which eliminates any fiscal impact. Thank you for allowing me to testify before you today. I am happy to respond to any questions you might have at this time, and will be available to you at the work session.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Trundy. Any questions for Ms. Trundy? Representative Toole.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've been to the surplus place outside of Augusta a few times over the years. I've noticed there's a lot of surplus office furniture and stuff there. Do you see this as a way of not having to house quite so much of it, getting it back into use? Or how do you see that all playing out? I know a lot of municipalities go there and shop around as well, and schools.
Yeah, I thank you for the question, Representative Toole. I don't know as we can guarantee the success for this, but we did think about the fact that state employees are currently, many of them, outfitting home offices, and the fact that we're likely to have the influx. And so, we can't guarantee that that is where they'll go to get their home office equipment, but we thought we would put it forward to possibly make the match.
Ms. Trundy? Thank you, Ms. Trundy.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. And is there anyone else speaking for this item? Carol?
Not on my list.
Is there anybody speaking against it?
Not on my list.
Okay, anybody speaking neither for nor against?
Not on my list.
We've gone through all the possibilities.
No, I'm pretty sure the attendee list is all set.
Representative Matlack, did you want to make a comment?
Yes, sir. If we're all set with this bill, I would not mind moving into work session and completing our work on this. I don't believe that this has any adverse impacts, and I think this would be a benefit to state employees and to the state. And if we're comfortable with that, I feel we can just move forward.
So is that a motion?
Yes, sir, that is. I move that we move into work session for the purpose. I'm sorry. Representative Bryan is correcting me on how I should proceed, sir. Oh, it's my bill, so I can't do that.
Well, not only that, but I suggest we close this public hearing, then we'll take a motion to move into a work session.
Okay.
Representative Bryan. So I will now formally close the public hearing on LD 1768. Are there any motions? Representative Copeland.
I move that we go to work session on this issue before us.
Any seconds?
Second.
Second, okay. It's been moved and seconded. We are now in a work session, which is where the legislators' comments are invited to reflect on what we've heard in the public. Representative Copeland.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I just want to say thank you to the employees in the state of Maine who have been flexible enough to continue to serve our state from their homes. Obviously, I am working from my home, and it did cost money to set up. And I appreciate that the state is, I hope that we vote that the state will help these folks out. And it's very reasonable from all aspects, and I am for it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? Representative Toole.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was just wondering if Lynn was aware of any technical or any issues that way. I know we haven't had a formalized analysis. She hasn't really had time for that, but I didn't know if anything stood out that or anything that way with her. So if we could maybe get a quick little bit there, then that would be great.
Thank you, Representative Toole. I do want to vote, though, first ask, did I miss a vote on the motion to move into a work session? I know there was a motion and there was a second. Was there a vote?
There is a motion and the second is, can we just have a show of hands to move into a work session?
Okay, thank you. And so I will move to Representative Toole's question. I actually was wondering if this might happen, so I did read over the bill. I just have two comments. One is it defines office equipment as includes. So it doesn't say what office equipment is. It tells you what examples are. So that's a little odd for a definition. I've checked the statute book to see if office equipment is defined anywhere else, and it's not. It's not even defined in the tax code. It just tells you how office equipment is handled under the tax code. So I can't offer an example of how to improve that phraseology. But I think it's interesting that the definition is basically examples, so it's really not a definition. So maybe you would want to throw a few words in there. And the other question I had was the phrase that the BGS will establish the price in the same manner. And so I was wondering what the manner is, because saying they'll establish the price in the same manner does not necessarily mean the price will be the same.
Anything else?
So those are my only two comments.
Okay. Ms. Trundy, did you want to comment on any of those comments?
I'm open to edits around either of those things. I think when we were pulling together the draft language for this, we had kind of a similar difficulty defining office equipment, and so we did just kind of look to the examples of items that are commonly sold at state surplus that we thought, yeah, those are obviously office equipment. So I'm open to changing the verbiage around that. And then if we wanted to say in relation to the price that more clearly that we would establish it same as for public sale instead of in the same manner, that's fine as well.
Representative Toole?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that was a great suggestion. about that Mr. Trundy just made. As far as the office equipment goes, I think I think we could say office equipment is, and then have a little provision at the end, that things may be expanded with, I don't know how you would word that, but I think we should have a definite, this is what it is. And maybe give the departments discretion to expand upon that or potentially come back. I mean, we don't want we don't want vehicles being sold or anything like that, but clearly office equipment. If that makes any sense.
Yep. So Representative Copeland?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm wondering, we always have to think about unintended consequences. So if we define something here, we're defining it elsewhere. So I'm wondering if Lynn would let me know if it's okay to say for, kind of like qualify it for this particular thing only, So can you weigh in on that, Lynn?
Yes, thank you, Representative Copeland. We can absolutely define it for purposes, so it would be for purposes of this section only. And I also was just going to remind us all, because we haven't been doing these in a while, that if the committee wanted to move forward with this today, you could vote ought to pass as amended. I could draft up some language on clarifying office equipment and making the change that Anya suggested on the pricing, which I think works, and then bring it back for a language review for you all to tweak if you aren't satisfied with the language.
Probably just add to the office equipment definition issue is that we should clearly have exclusion for vehicles, and we should have a clear exclusion for fixtures, the home. I think those two things would help fill this down to what should be. But I think we should have a specific exclusion for fixtures and for vehicles.
Okay.
Is that okay with people on the committee?
Certainly.
Well, tell me more about the distinction about a fixture.
Well, a fixture becomes a permanent improvement to the house.
Thank you.
So it's a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. It would be it would be over the line, I think, clearly, if it's a fixture, because it becomes a permanent improvement and it's, but an office equipment obviously should be not a fixture, not a vehicle. And there should be language saying it's related or necessary for their work. I don't know if you want to do any of that. Lynn, you said we could do ought to pass as amended with kind of our instructions to you. Is that basically what you're saying?
That's correct. If the committee, I just want to remind the committee, if you vote ought to pass as amended, I will redraft and bring back for language review. So you can see what I do. And at that point, you can say that looks good, or you can decide that I need to draft again.
Okay. Do you have direction from what has been said here?
Yes, I do. I think it's fairly clear, and I will do a little bit of research to see if there's a definition that is in other codes that may be helpful.
Okay. And Representative Copeland, did you have your hand up?
I did. Just, I think we're all thinking about like what I have here. I have my laptop, a laptop stand. I have a desk, a chair, extra monitors, but equipment sometimes means like photocopiers and printers and stuff. Do we care? I mean, that would be something that people would need, but I know that in the private sector, I was given a a personal scanner, but not a whole machine. I mean, do we care if it goes to somebody wanting a whole photocopying machine? I mean, I
Okay.
realize most of them are leased, but still.
Well, I think it should
We
include
worry.
copiers because it's going to be in the discretion of what's available. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because this is going to be reused equipment. So,
I just want a nonprofit to be able to have access to this kind of equipment rather than somebody in their home business. You know, I don't know. I just want to be fair.
no, I think it's a legitimate question. I just think that I don't think we can, I think copiers could be allowed depending on what the job is and whether they're available and what kind of, you know, I think because this is all going to be pretty much resale type items. So Representative Toole.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I would agree with that. I think the department knows. I think we just need to set some broad parameters. I think they know what they're doing, and I think most departments would. The one thing I would add is I think it needs to be stipulated that it's sold as is, that, you know, you get, this is surplus reused equipment, and it is what it is, and thereby the state's not liable for anything that happens to it after, I'm saying. So we wouldn't want somebody to turn around and sue the state for selling shoddy equipment because it's used equipment. So I mean, it's as is.
As is. Yeah, just like if you went
Yeah.
to a wholesale store. Yep.
And I believe that's the intent, but I don't know if that needs to be in there or not, but maybe Ms. Trundy wants to weigh in on that. But I'm fine either way. But I think that's the intention.
Lynn took notes on that as is. So Representative Matlack, did you want to make a comment?
No comment. I would like to make a motion that I would like to move ought to pass as amended on this bill.
Okay, there's a second?
Second.
Ms. McGowan, could you call the roll?
Yes, I will, sir. Thank you. Ought to pass as amended for 1768. Senator Joseph Baldacci.
Yes.
Senator Joseph Baldacci, yes. Senator Kimberly Rosen, absent. Senator Ned Claxton, absent. Representative Ann Matlack.
Yes.
Representative Ann Matlack, yes. Representative William Toole.
Yes.
Representative William Toole, yes. Representative Mark Bryant.
Yes.
Representative Mark Bryant, yes. Representative Randall Greenwood.
Yes.
Representative Randall Greenwood, yes. Representative Sean Paulus, absent. Representative Francis Head.
Yes.
Representative Francis Head, yes. Representative Donna Dorr, absent. Representative Walter Reisman, absent. Representative Kathy Downs.
Yes.
Representative Kathy Downs, yes. Representative Lynn Copeland.
Yes.
Representative Lynn Copeland, yes. That's 8 yes and 5 absent.
Okay, so that has passage. Thank you very much. Representative Matlack.
Yes, sir. I got a note from Representative Reisman. He's having difficulties with his connection and he had to log off and he's trying to log back on again. So he may
Okay.
join us later.
Sure, absolutely.
If
So I think
that's-
excuse
me.
Yeah.
Sorry. If that's the case, we have been given permission at the end of our session at the end of our meeting to ask him if he would like to vote on that work session. So if you would like him to do that, he may do that at that time.
Thank you. Do we still have the 2-day rule?
Yep. Yeah, I'll be sending that out after the meeting, but if
Okay.
he votes now, he can.
Right, it just saves time.
Yep. Yep.
Lynn, you had your hand up?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to ask the committee's permission when I'm drafting this amendment, if I may share it with Anya Trundy to see what their comments are.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Looks like a yes.
Mm.
Okay, I think that concludes our actions regarding LD 1768. And now we will move into a public hearing regarding LD 1806. An act to clarify the boundary between Waldo County and Knox County and Penobscot Bay. We wouldn't want Waldo County and Knox County to have a battle over this, so I'm glad we're able to settle it. Sponsor is Senator Curry. Is he in the waiting room?
Yes, I'll send him right over.
Okay.
I also have someone there on the telephone that I'm not sure who that is.
Morning,
I'll,
Senator Curry.
try calling.
Good morning.
Good. So we are discussing your bill LD 1806, an act to clarify the boundary between Waldo County and Knox County and Penobscot Bay.
Excellent.
Have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate this. I think this is my first time in front of this committee, and I've appreciated watching you navigate the first bill. So, Senator Baldacci, Representative Matlack, and distinguished colleagues on the Joint Standing Committee on State and Local Government. My name is Chip Curry. I'm the state senator for Senate District 11, which includes the 26 rural, coastal, and island communities of Waldo County. I live in Belfast, and I'm pleased to introduce LD 1806, an act to clarify the boundary between Waldo County and Knox County and Penobscot Bay. I'm proud to introduce this legislation at the request of the Waldo County Commissioners who raised their concerns to me. In 2020, the Waldo County Commissioners were contacted by the U.S. Census Bureau to verify the county boundary in accordance with the U.S. Census. In reviewing tax, deed, and most importantly, state statute, Maine statute, their team concluded that the maps depicting the county boundary between Waldo County and Knox counties were not accurate in Penobscot Bay. Specifically, a mapping error not based in statute positioned the boundary just below the town of Islesboro and failed to include the unincorporated territories to the south of the town. One might think this legislation is about property taxes. However, that is not the case. LaSalle Island, the largest of the islands within the archipelago, and one of the only islands where property taxes are collected. LaSalle Island is one of the only islands where the property taxes are collected. The unincorporated territory tax district has historically recognized and continues to recognize LaSalle Island to be within Waldo County and appropriately sends the county portion of property taxes to Waldo. This bill is simply to clarify the border based upon Maine statute. A review of statute showed that the entire Islesboro archipelago is in Waldo County, and there was no legislation transferring any of the islands into Knox County. The Waldo County Commissioners theorized that around 70 years ago, there was a cartographic error, and that has been continuously carried over for decades. In essence, this legislation aims to resolve the inconsistencies with tax and deed records, as well as our legislative processes. I'd like to thank Mr. Dale Rowley, the project engineer for Waldo County, and Mr. Robert Hoey, the GIS planner for Waldo County, for their significant research into this issue. They have submitted detailed testimony, which includes historic, current, and proposed maps. I believe they are both present today and are prepared to give testimony. Thank you for your consideration. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Senator Curry, are there any questions for the senator? Representative Matlack.
Thank you, Senator Baldacci, and welcome, Senator Curry. I'll state up front that I live in Knox County. So I know about these sorts of things. First of all, you mentioned that there was an error made a while ago. Do you have a general idea of when that error in mapping might have been made?
Sure, yes. And I believe Mr. Rowley will speak to this, who's here. As he informed me, the first erroneous map showed up in 1941. And then for about 15 years, there were competing maps. So at the same time, the 1951 map put forward by the same body had two different border lines. And then in 1956, it appears that other maps kind of followed suit along with the 1941 map.
Well, as luck would have it, last night my husband happened to be reading a book called Looking Astern, which was paintings of various aspects of coastal life from south of us to up to Belfast and so forth. And it said it had on its frontispiece a map of the area. And included in that was a statement that this is a map of the state of Maine, compiled, drawn, and published from official plans and actual surveys by Colby and Stewart, Holton, Maine, and it was dated 1887. And specifically in that chart, in that map, you can see where LaSalle Island is south of the borderline between Waldo and Knox County. I just bring that to your attention. The second thing I'd like to mention is that this is Waldo County, and I'm not seeing where Waldo and Knox County work together to resolve this issue, because I believe that, among other things, property is registered in the Knox County Registry of Deeds. So I was wondering if you folks had worked with Knox County to resolve these issues before asking the state of Maine to make a determination.
My understanding that, thank you for the question, Representative Matlack. It's my understanding there are two pathways to resolving this. I do not know the history between Waldo and Knox counties in terms of the county to county level discussions, and the representatives from Waldo County are here, and that would be a great question for them. The other alternatives are through lawsuits, clearly, or for the legislature to clarify the historic statute.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Representative Toole?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I guess I have a bunch of questions, some of which you may be able to answer, some others may. I guess the first is, reading through the testimony, I read through it a little bit this morning, I noticed the town of Islesboro is neither for nor against. And has there been any outreach with the town of Islesboro to get, and I don't know if you've read their testimony, but some of it is in regards to mapping and real estate concerns and such. Have you folks had a chance to work with them to kind of get a sense of the board and the selectmen and the community there? And all that kind of goes along with Representative Matlack's question about Knox County. Has there been a broader outreach amongst all three players involved to kind of get everybody on the same page since testimony was written?
Thank you. Thank you, Representative Toole. I've been in direct contact with the manager of Islesboro, and they wanted to be assured that this was not a bill that was attempting to annex the unincorporated territories and give them to Islesboro, in which case they would have a responsibility to those unincorporated islands. And I was clear with them, and in fact, double checked everything, working with your analyst to make sure that there was nothing in this bill that could be construed as annexing the unincorporated territories, so that into the incorporated town of Islesboro. So they maintain their status as unincorporated islands, and nothing changes on that front. Nothing changes in the legal relationship between Islesboro and the unincorporated islands. And I made sure that the town folks of Islesboro knew that. It's very important, and they were comfortable with that answer.
Thank you. And as far as Knox County, have you chatted with their county administrators / commissioners about this?
I have not spoken with the county commissioners, and I will leave that to the folks with the county to address the history of this issue. And I can't speak to that well, so I will defer to the folks that come next.
Okay, great, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Senator Curry. Our next speaker is Representative Ziegler. Good morning, Representative.
Good morning. Good morning, Senator Baldacci, Representative Matlick, and distinguished members of the State and Local Government Committee. My name is Stanley Page Ziegler, and I represent District 96, consisting of the towns of Belmont, Liberty, Lincolnville, Montville, Morrow, Palermo, and Searsmont. And I am writing to support LD 1806, an act to clarify the boundary between Waldo County and Knox County and Penobscot Bay. Senator Curry told me that the U.S. Census contacted the Waldo County commissioners in order to correct a mapping error. If this is indeed only a minor correction and all islands affected continue under the same federal and state tax jurisdiction, then I support this correction. If for any reason the addition of these islands to Waldo County were to affect the town of Islesboro in any way, that the town should see as detrimental, I would withdraw my support. For this to be definitively known, I would like to see the counties of Knox and Waldo, with the addition of the state, work together to supply that answer. During the work session, I would like to see how those concerns can be addressed. And Senator Baldacci, as a personal note, I was involved in surveying islands off of Taiwan, and we took shots across the bow. So I'm hoping Knox County, Representative Matlick, will be kind and considerate to Waldo County, and we won't have any of those effects. And the other issue that Representative Toole brought up as
I think Representative Ziegler, that was well taken, but just so you know, it's Representative Matlack, just for future. That might help avoid further problems with Knox County.
Senator Matlack sits right next to me in the House, and I'm sure that I will get a tap on my wrist for that. And I apologize, Representative. But along with Senator Curry, I reached out to the Select Board in Islesboro, and they are aware of this, and they have, their tax assessor is watching the committee at this particular point, Vern Ziegler, who spells his name incorrectly, or at least differently than I do. Any questions, I would be glad to entertain.
Thank you, Representative Ziegler. Any questions? Representative Matlack.
Thank you, sir. Welcome, Representative Ziegler. As regards shots across the bow, did you know that a former caretaker on LaSalle Island actually accumulated quite a few number of guns and ammunition, and actually the Coast Guard had to go out and relieve him of the guns because he was firing at people from the island?
That's because he's from Knox County at this point. Waldo County would be far more pleasant, Representative Matlack, and I appreciate you not mispronouncing my name. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, sir.
Other questions or comments for Representative Ziegler? Cheryl, do we have any other speakers regarding this item?
We do. Would you like me to bring them in?
Well, let's bring them in.
All right. Here is Andrew Hart from Knox County.
Knox or Waldo?
Knox.
Okay.
And here is Dale Rowley from Waldo County. And then we have two other persons, a David Cabot and a Vernon Ziegler. Would you like me to have them in?
Yep, bring them in.
All righty. With that, they're all in.
Okay. Let's go first with the people for the bill, and I will start with Dale Rowley from Waldo County.
Thank you very much. Senator Baldacci, Representative Matlack, and members of the committee. My name is Dale Rowley, and I'm representing the County of Waldo on behalf of the County Commissioners. I'm the County Emergency Management Director and County Engineer, and I'm testifying in support of LD 1806, and I'm from the town of, I live in Winterport. In early January 2020, the County of Waldo received a letter from the U.S. Census Bureau to verify that there were no geographic boundary issues between the boundaries of Waldo County when they were getting ready to do their count. We responded that we felt that there was a boundary issue. We had discussions in the past, not on this bill, but in the past about LaSalle. And usually there's a playful back and forth on who owns it. Following up to the response to the Census Bureau, however, the commissioners asked us to do some further research. And by the way, my assistant, Rob Hoy, is on the same Zoom link as I am, the same computer. So he can speak after if you wish, and it'll be the same Zoom link. The Penobscot Bay Island of LaSalle has been considered a part of Waldo County since 1827, well before Knox was a county, when Waldo was broken off from Hancock and Lincoln counties. Yet modern maps always show LaSalle Island south of the Waldo-Knox boundary, the boundary that's being shown. And that's we have attachments to all this. So I have a map number 1 that shows a current map showing the boundary that the USGS represents on their maps. As all boundaries are political, and the political body that determines political boundaries in Maine is the Maine State Legislature. We researched the legislative history relating to the Waldo boundaries. In 1827, the county was created by Public Law 1827, Chapter 354. In 1828, it contained all of what is now Waldo County, plus Camden, Hope, and Appleton. They followed this up with another act, 1828, Chapter 372, which clarified the boundary between Waldo and Hancock. At that time, the boundary got established, clarified between Hancock and Waldo as the center line of the East Channel on the east side of Islesboro. So all the islands and all the property to the west of that line was Waldo, and everything to the east was Hancock. In 1838, the legislature annexed the town of Vinyl Haven, which included future North Haven, to Waldo County. So that act basically brings from Hancock, Vinyl Haven and North Haven over. But before that, everything to the west of that line was in Waldo, and everything to the east was in Hancock County. In 1846, there was an act to basically break off North Haven, at that time called Fox Island. Later it changed its name to North Haven from Vinyl Haven. We have a map too from 1859, which would have been after these legislative acts had taken place, representing, and it shows all what we're referring to as the Islesboro Archipelago Islands, of the islands south of Islesboro, as part of Waldo County on that 1859 map. In 1860, the County of Knox was created, which transferred the towns of Appleton, Camden, Hope, North Haven, and Vinyl Haven to the County of Knox from Waldo. It didn't transfer any of the unincorporated islands. It just incorporated the towns of the incorporated islands, towns and islands of Waldo over to Knox. And then we have a map number 3, which is from 1884, which would have taken place after this act, which again shows LaSalle and the other island archipelago, Islesboro Archipelago Islands, as a part of Waldo County. And then we also have a map number 4, which is a survey map of Islesboro, which includes the incorporated part of Islesboro plus the Islesboro Archipelago Islands. We were unable to find any other statutes that transferred, annexed, or further clarified the boundary between Waldo and Knox County after that point, after Knox was created in 1860. From here, we reference a number of historical maps. It should be noted that maps are not legal documents that establish political boundaries. but graphic representations of what is the intent of the political authority, in this case, the Maine State Legislature. Maps are evidence when backed up by statute. And so we did, and we worked with the state folks also to the unorganized territories and with GIS to do a thorough search of the statutes. In 1904, USGS put out a map, that's map number 5, that shows the boundary between Waldo and Knox and Hancock. And again, it includes all the islands in Waldo that are off the southern tip of Islesboro, all those unincorporated. Let's see here. For some unexplained reason, the USGS changed the boundary, and they don't have the authority to do that. On the 1941 Vinyl Haven quad map, there was a line of latitude that was put in that cut off LaSalle and the other islands from Waldo County. Now, the adjacent Rockland 1941 map continues to show, which is map number 7, continues to show the line heading in a south easterly direction, which curved down around the islands and back up the other side, up the east channel of between on the west side of east side of Islesboro. It continues to show that line. So we've got 2 maps from 1941, both showing the lines in different locations. Then in 1944, which is map number 8, there's another, again, it shows the boundary swooping down around the islands and back up, and keeping LaSalle in there. But then in 1948, which is map number 9, again, there's a Bangor 1 to 250,000 map that shows the line going down around, which is what we've found as evidence from the state statute. And then finally, in 1956, map number 10, again, it picks up that latitude line that doesn't seem to have any legal justification. But from then on, it pretty much appears on all the modern day maps. So that leaves us with the need for the legislature, in our opinion, to clarify the Waldo-Knox boundary in Penobscot Bay. I have a map number 11, which is showing the discrepancy. On that map, it has an orange line, which shows what the USGS maps show. Then we have a blue line on that map, which cuts down around LaSalle, which is what's being in effect right now when it comes to taxes and deeds. And deeds are also recorded in Waldo County for LaSalle and go back quite a while. And then there's a purple line on that map, and that's kind of what we've been finding that is the basis of statute, going back from 1827 to 1860 of that line. I have an attachment for the deed search for Waldo County of all the deeds for LaSalle Island that are recorded in Waldo County. And then that now leads me to our proposal by the County Commissioners of Waldo to go before your committee. And that's map number 13. That basically on there, it shows the line that existed when Camden was a part of Waldo County. And by the way, Rockport was a part of Camden, hadn't been broken up yet. And that's the line. And then when Camden went to Waldo County, that line then looped around and went up to the new Camden Lincolnville boundary. And what we're proposing is setting grid coordinates so that there's no confusion on where the line basically should be drawn according to statute. I know there was a question about Islesboro. I've been in touch with the Islesboro assessor. We've had a conversation over the past day or so. This bill is not intended to add LaSalle Island or anything else to Islesboro. They would remain as unincorporated islands. It would just be unincorporated islands that are a part of Waldo and as we research, have always been a part of Waldo. Let's see here. I guess I'll end it there. And if you have any questions, and I do have my GIS assistant here, Rob Hoy. who did most of the research.
Thank you, Dale. Does the committee have any questions first? Representative Toole?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, and thank you, sir, for your presentation. So does Waldo County, do you folks have a Department of the Unorganized Territories? Or I know down in Washington County we do, because we have a bunch of them.
Right,
Do
because you
folks-
have a lot of unorganized territories.
Do you folks have
Ours are, what's the size of LaSalle? We got like 111, 112 acres of unorganized territory.
Okay, so you currently don't have a department in your county government that provides services to unorganized territories per se, or do you? Do you currently provide services, as I guess?
Well, I'm not sure. We don't plow the roads or anything, but they do register deeds in our registry, so they use that service. They do. If they need any type of assistance from the commissioner's office or the clerk's office, they do that. Our treasurer works with the residents out there for the collection of the taxes. So there are some services, but it's done in-house because it's so tiny.
Right, okay.
I think there's 3 residential structures on LaSalle.
So with that, Knox County doesn't provide any services to folks out there?
Not on LaSalle. Being that they're unorganized, they do also get a lot of services from the state in the sense of like fire protection. There was a fire out there at one point, a wildfire, and the forest rangers went out to put it out. There have been, I read the news article on the gunman out there firing on the Coast Guard, and that was pretty interesting. And there were deputies and Marine Patrol and Coast Guard all involved in that one.
Well, thank you very much. I was just concerned that I'm not sure who's, again, down east, where you have a whole department of the county government to do things like plowing roads and such like that, because we have so many unorganized territories. Yeah. I didn't want a simple mapping change to mean a shift in government services as well. That's what I was getting at.
What little services they require, we pretty much handle in-house. We don't have a separate department for it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Or Mr. Rowley? Representative Matlack.
Thank you, Senator Baldacci. Welcome, Mr. Rowley.
Thank you.
My question is again, something that I asked Senator Curry, which is, have you worked at all with Knox County? Because I know that they also were asked by the Census Bureau about any problems that there might be with boundaries. And I know that you were working on parallel courses and working with some of the same people at the state. And I'm wondering if you had reached out to them and let them know that this was going to be occurring prior to the legislation being brought to this committee.
When we were doing the research, my GIS planner talked with their GIS planner, and I've had conversations between myself and the Knox County EMA director about the status of LaSalle, but we haven't had any official meetings. We were actually going to try to schedule one, and then COVID hit and everything kind of got put on hold.
Okay, and may I ask, other than the fact that you discovered this, is there a reason for the alacrity with which this is being put forward? Is there an issue of pressure or need to resolve this issue, or is this just something that came up?
No, it's been an issue for 70 years. So I guess that whether it's today or tomorrow or a year from now, we're just looking to try to get it resolved. It's an issue that always pops up. It drives our map makers crazy because, you know, for example, you look at the state creates maps, DOT, the apportionment, all these other things, and it always shows LaSalle and Knox. And our contention is that LaSalle's a part of Waldo, and we just like to clarify that boundary.
Okay, but this is broader than LaSalle. This also includes other islands that are considered part of Knox County at present?
It includes, the bill includes, when we talk about clarifying that line, that line would go back to the, what we say is the statutory justification in the earlier maps. And yeah, the rocks and some other islands would end up, being a part of Waldo, but we contend that it's always been a part of Waldo. But the line was drawn wrong in 1941.
All right, and traditionally they are part of Waldo. There aren't any islands there that are considered part of Knox County?
By statute, no. They would be a part of Waldo. That's a part of that Islesboro archipelago, that geological feature of the islands that come off the tip of Islesboro.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Sure. And Senator Baldacci, if you want Rob Hoy to speak, he's on the same. I just turned the computer screen to him.
Yeah, no. What I was going to suggest though is it's a lot of helpful information. There's a lot of maps, and I don't know if you can put it together in an email format and that we can at least circulate to the committee that we can look at before we take any votes on this. It might be helpful to have some addition. I would find it helpful to have
I believe that's part of his testimony, sir. I believe he has 2 documents in testimony, and one of them is quite a lengthy document with several charts and maps and so forth.
Yes.
Are all the maps that you have it listed in your testimony?
The longer document is the larger megabytes, is the one that contains all the maps and the copies of the statutes.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I haven't had a chance to read your testimony yet. Yep. Representative Copeland.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question is about the lines that you're redrawing and you have GPS coordinates. Was a licensed professional land surveyor involved with this? And sign off?
Land surveyors usually wouldn't survey out in the ocean.
Okay.
Because they can't set up their transit out there.
Yeah.
But you can pick a point on a map, a grid coordinate. What we tried to do was that historical circle that goes around those archipelago islands. We tried to have a grid coordinates that would try to best approximate that loop. This is one of those things, you look at old deeds and they'll say bordered on Smith's property, and then Smith's property says bordered on mine. And modern deeds will say bearing and distance, to a point so many feet. And so what we're trying to do with this, by establishing the grid coordinates, you don't have to guess, is it this side of 3 feet, this side of that center line of the channel or that side of the channel? Because the law basically says that we border on Hancock in the center of the channel. And so this is just setting up not surveyed lines, but grid coordinates.
May I follow up, Mr. Chair?
Yes, absolutely.
What about the people who own those pieces of property? What is their opinion of where it should be, where it has been? Have they been involved in this communication? Because it sounds like maybe Knox County wasn't as involved as I wish they were. So I'm wondering about the people, the landowners.
Yeah, the only occupied islands, and I think it's Summer Folks. I don't think anybody lives permanently on LaSalle. And it's the only occupied one. The others aren't occupied. Matter of fact,
they're still owned.
And they can't build on it because of the shoreline zoning issues.
Right,
and they
still own them. So
right.
there's somebody's property.
Yeah, and most of them are actually owned by either the federal government or the state government.
Okay, that's what
yeah. On LaSalle, we actually do have a letter from a lawyer back in, I think, the 1980s. They were trying to clarify this back then in the 80s. And with the unincorporated management. And they wouldn't, the state bureaucracy wouldn't resolve it then because it was a legislative issue. But the lawyer who looked at it for the LaSalle Island owner said, hey, everything that I look at here basically says that this is in Waldo County. And the individual from the state said, I'll neither confirm nor deny, but yeah, it looks right. And all the deeds and the taxes are going to Waldo for LaSalle.
So we have it that the local governments have, or at least Waldo County has said that this seems reasonable, but we need others to weigh in on that. We need stakeholders. We need to hear from your Knox County, and I would like to at least get a letter from those other folks that they don't care. I mean, and I don't know what the state or what the federal government may have in mind for those islands, if anything at all. So I think that we need to get more information.
I think you've got the Knox administrator on, so I mean, you can ask them.
Yeah, so I think that Vernon Ziegler. Good morning, Mr. Ziegler. I know that you're from Waldo County, correct?
No, I represent the town of Islesboro. I'm their tax assessor.
Oh, okay. And
you'd be looking for Andrew Hart is the administrator for Knox County.
Right, but you're neither for nor against, or you against?
Well, our issue was that we had not seen any maps. Our long-term understanding was that LaSalle Island was in Waldo County. The deeds are recorded in Waldo County. The state assesses them as part of the unorganized territory of Waldo County. And so we were just confused without a map to say, well, this is how it's drawn, this is what it should be, and then not knowing were these going to be, as they talk about reestablishing the archipelago of Islesboro, we were concerned that it would imply some sort of annexation to the municipality of Islesboro, which we probably would have a problem with.
Did you want to make any other comments while you're got the floor?
No, I'm glad to see that the committee is looking for additional information, and we certainly would like to be apprised of that and receive copies of the maps and things like that. Mr. Rowley was very good to reach out to me yesterday several times, answer my questions, and I can contact him directly to get a copy of those. So thank you for taking the time, Mr. Chair, to allow us to throw in our 2 cents worth.
Absolutely. Thank you. And Representative Matlack?
Yes, I think I would like to hear from, is it Mr. Hoey who's sitting with you, Mr. Rowley? I think I would like to hear from him. He could also provide some information. I believe he has testimony to provide to us today. Mr. Hoey?
Good morning. If you look at Dale Rowley's screen, you'll see my face. My name is Rob Hoey. I'm the GIS planner for Waldo County, and I live in Searsmont, Waldo County. I am basically the troublemaker that started this whole thing. In January of 2020, the Waldo County Commissioners, along with the county commissioners of the other counties in the state, received the letters from the U.S. Census Bureau asking them to verify the political boundaries of their jurisdictions. As Dale has pointed out, I'm not going to rehash the history that Dale presented. However, what I want to focus on is the problem of accuracy in maps. People will look at a map and they will expect that the information they see on that map is accurate. And for the most part, it is. But all maps have errors. Some of those errors are inherent in the design of the map. And I can go into a great deal of detail on the subject of geodesy, but I won't unless someone has a question. Suffice it to say that, and in fact, Dale has presented a number of maps that show the border either being between LaSalle and Lime Island. Lime Island is the southernmost island of the municipality of Islesboro. In other words, it is part of the incorporated town of Islesboro. The islands south of Lime Island include LaSalle Island, Mouse Island, Goose Island, Saddle Island, Mark Island, Robinson Rock, and something called Macintosh Ledge. Of all those islands, LaSalle, Mouse, and Saddle are privately owned. The remaining islands are in the possession of either the federal or state government, and taxes are not an issue for those islands. They're exempt. The taxes are levied on LaSalle, Mouse, and Saddle, with taxes of LaSalle going to Waldo County, Mouse and Saddle. Those taxes have been going to Knox County. The issue here, however, from a cartographer standpoint, I'm a cartographer, I'm a GIS planner for the county. I'm also a licensed geologist in this state. And I'm a former naval officer with experience in geodesy and other aspects of mapping in a nautical environment. So in the profession, we recognize that there are certain errors that show up in maps, and we try to limit those. When I say error, I'm talking about positions that might appear on a map that are not correct. They're off by some amount. The difference, an error is a difference between what is shown on the map and where the thing really is. There is another element, however, in mapping accuracy, and that is mistakes. A mistake is not an error. Errors are quantifiable parameters that one can evaluate. For instance, someone who goes out and conducts a survey, their instrumentation has a certain level of accuracy. Their use of that tool has a certain level of accuracy, and the errors in using that equipment can be quantified and accounted for. A mistake, on the other hand, would be something where the surveyor reads his instrument. The instrument has a certain level of accuracy, but after reading the instrument, the data is recorded incorrectly. Happens all the time. People write down the wrong numbers. They write down numbers in the wrong order. It's just one of those things that happens. That would be a mistake. In the case that's before us right now, where this boundary has been drawn is a function of some cartographic effort. A map maker was making the map and is putting information on that map, and some of the information winds up being incorrect. We don't know why. I can speculate as to how it happened, but it's not really that important. What really matters is where is the boundary according to the authority? And for political boundaries, that authority in Maine is the legislature. What a cartographer does should reflect what the legislature intended in terms of a political boundary. However, the cartographer may not have had adequate understanding of what the legislative intent was and simply drew the boundary as a best guess. And I think that is what has happened here. We have to be careful in using maps as evidence of data. The map is not data. It simply portrays the data, and hopefully the data that was included is correct. But when we find that it is not, then we have an obligation to make the correction. So from a cartographer standpoint, that would be how I would deal with it. If there was an error that was due to a measurement error, there are other ways of dealing with that. For instance, well, I won't go into a lot of detail there. What we're really focused on here is where is the political boundary? And the authority for that rests with you folks. All I'm interested in is making sure that when I draw a map, that the information on it is as accurate as possible. Because I'm going to put my name on the map. And by doing that, I'm saying, this is the best product I can produce.
Okay. Thank you very much, Rob. I think we need to turn to Andrew Hart from Knox County. I think we need to know where Knox County is on this, because we can talk maps all day if we want to, but that we need to see what Knox County has to say. So Andrew, Mr. Hart, so welcome. Could you just introduce yourself and you have the floor?
Good morning, Senator Baldacci and Representative Matlack and distinguished members of the Committee on State and Local Government. My name is Andrew Hart. I'm a resident of the town of Camden in Knox County, and I'm also the county administrator for Knox County. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak today before the committee. I guess I would start out to say Knox County is not opposed to the request for LaSalle Island. As has been stated, Knox County doesn't receive county tax money as part of the UT money that we receive for towns in the unorganized territory for Knox County. Waldo County receives that. But there is a lot of maps, other documents out there that indicate that LaSalle Island is in Knox County. So I would say first, Knox County is not opposed to that, but I would say I'm opposed to the process. And why I say that is that back in February of 2020, I was notified by Leticia Van Vuren, who is my or Knox County's GIS manager. She had worked with Rob Hoey. They'd had some discussions, and that was the first time it was brought to my attention that there was an issue with LaSalle Island and was trying to have that corrected. From that point on, I worked with Alan Jackson with the Land Use Planning Commission, Bob Bistris with GIS for the state, and others. And we had multiple discussions. We presented a lot of material that we found, and I know Rob and Dale did as well for Waldo County. And that group was working along, and then COVID happened and kind of came to a screeching halt. I think I had 4 email follow-ups with Ellen, and it was kind of like, yeah, we've been busy. We've kind of dropped the ball. We're going to pick it back up. And then I didn't hear anything for 6 months. And I felt it's really not my responsibility, that it's that committee's responsibility to deal with it. Maybe that was the wrong approach, but I thought we were moving along and we're going to come to some resolution. I actually had an email from Ellen yesterday that said, there still hasn't been a firm resolution on this because there's still conflicting information. Again, I'm not opposed to LaSalle, but as Rob indicated, now there's more islands being brought into this that Knox County receives county tax for. The islands that he mentioned, we do receive tax through the UT. We receive county tax funds for those. So I am concerned of that we're going to end up losing county tax funds. Probably not a big amount, but it's just, I guess, the point. And I guess I feel that this should go back and be finished with the group that was working on it, and make sure that Knox and Waldo come to a total agreement before it comes back to the state and local government committee, and the legislature has the final say in it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Hart? So, Mr. Hart, was there a formal group, or was this pretty much an informal group?
I would say it was. I know Ellen took the lead on it, and then, like I said, Bob Bistris was involved. Leticia, myself, and Ray Sisk, our EMA director for Knox County at times, was involved. I think we were providing a lot of information. Ellen would reach out to us if she needed additional, had questions or needed additional documents. But I guess I was leaving it up to them to kind of say, yeah, this is where it should be, because to be honest with you, with all the people on this call, on this meeting, I'm probably the least knowledgeable about GIS and maps and things like that. So I was relying on others to really guide us in that.
So it sounds like it was a fairly informal arrangement. Are there any other questions of Mr. Hart? Representative Matlack.
Thank you, Senator Baldacci. Yes, Mr. Hart, the informal group that you had together was tasked by an inquiry was made to them with regard to the census that was upcoming. And that was the reason that you were getting together to resolve an issue that had been brought forward about the division between Waldo and Knox County. So there was a reason for the committee, and you were working as a group, whether it was a specific committee, it had a specific task. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would say that's correct. And I guess I would add to that, you know, if you look at the most current census, the 2020 census, they still haven't made a correction because they didn't have all the information they felt they needed to make a change. So it's still showing that the map's still the same. There hasn't been any changes to that.
Thank you, sir.
But are there any other questions of Mr. Hart? Okay, and I think, do we have any? Okay, Representative Toole.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I guess my question, and perhaps you folks can answer it, is whether do you see an immediate need for this to be addressed from a day-to-day county operations standpoint, such as emergency services, whatever the case may be? From a county administrator standpoint, do you see an emergency? Why now? I guess is my question.
Representative Toole, so I guess I would answer that I agree with Dale that, you know, this has been ongoing, and it would be nice to check it off the list and move forward with it. It seems like I have a few other things that kind of in that situation that just keep dragging. So I don't think it's an emergency, but it would be nice to get it resolved.
So what I would ask is, unless there are other questions, this is a public hearing. We haven't scheduled, this isn't a workshop or where we're going to vote on it. Between now and whenever this comes back to this committee, I would ask that all the parties from Waldo and Knox get together immediately and work on this. Obviously, it's going to make sense that this can be an agreed upon resolution. I appreciate all the maps and the history, but the bottom line is that Knox and Waldo need to come to some sort of understanding. Otherwise, it's going to have to go through the court system, and that's going to be expensive and time consuming for both counties. So my admonition to all the parties here is to get together ASAP and see what you can do to present an agreed upon resolution. Representative Toole.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would echo that. I would also add that I think the town of Islesboro, to the extent that they're involved, I'm not exactly sure how they're involved, but to the extent that they are, I think they need to be a part of it as well. And I know requests for the work session, we haven't even got to the issue that I've been talking to Lynn about the whole reapportionment situation in regards to what happens if we move some of these properties from one county to another. Would that affect the county commissioner's district? So I would hope the attorney general folks can be present to address whatever information they have. So that would be a request.
I would note that we do have a letter from the attorney general's office on that issue.
Well,
so you might want to review that, and
I will
answer some of the questions. But no, I'm glad you raised it. Representative Copeland.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I like your approach. And I think I would like to add to it that not just the York County and Waldo County officials, but I would suggest, for the reason that Representative Toole brought up and other unintended consequences, I think that the landowners and the elected officials should be included in, maybe not the technical stuff, but at the point where the legislative directives stop and are confusing, at that point, I think when things are being redrawn, interested parties would be the elected officials and the landowners.
Right, and so I think it's important that the two counties are the principals and that they keep the Islesboro and landowners apprised of what's happening. I think that is a process, but I see the two counties each as as the principals in this, but I agree that the landowners and Islesboro needs to be brought into any resolution, and they need to be okay with it as well. So but primarily, I want to see the two counties try to work together and solve this problem so it doesn't kick around for another 70 years or however long it's kicked around. So that's all we can hope for. And Mr. Rowley and Mr. Hoey and Mr. Hart and Senator Curry and everybody, we appreciate all of everybody's hard work, and we look forward to working with you in the near future. But that's where we are right now, I think. So is there any other matters to come before the committee? Representative Matlack?
Yes, I believe so. Earlier, not specifically about this bill, but about our previous bill. And thank you, gentlemen, for coming and speaking with us today. This has been very informative, and I appreciate all the details that you have, and I'm hoping for a resolution soon. But Representative Reisman was having technical difficulties, and he was unable to vote on the previous bill. I don't know whether he's had an opportunity to hear about that bill and whether he might be, whether he'd like to vote now or whether he would like to take his time and vote in the next 2 days on that previous bill.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'm wondering what the motion was that was voted on, first of all.
Would you like me to let him know, or?
Yes, please.
It was for ought to pass as amended on 1768, and there are 8 for and 5 were absent.
Okay, so I don't have a problem.
You have 2 days to deal with this. So you could check with Lynn if you like about what changes that or amendments that we have made to the bill, and then you can check in with the speaker's office and register your vote at that point.
Well, it seems like it was pretty well thought out, and the vote is pretty clear, so I don't see the necessity of dragging this on. So I'll vote yes.
Thank you, sir.
Walter Reisman votes yes on 1768. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments before we adjourn? Caswell, you have the floor.
Thank you, Senator Baldacci. I just wanted to state on the live mic, the subcommittee, the Discontinued Road Subcommittee is scheduled for 1 hour after this meeting. So I just want to state that unless there are a couple members on that subcommittee here, but I'm thinking maybe we could verbally say whether you want to meet at 12 or 12:30.
Committee.
Representative Toole, do you have a preference?
I would, if you just need a few minutes to notify the other stakeholders, I'm fine running right through. I mean,
okay,
I'm fine running right through and being done for the day. If that's my plans have changed, so I'm available.
All right. All right. Excuse me, Representative Copeland.
Yes, I'm available as well. I suppose that I would prefer to meet at 12:30, either right now or 12:30.
Okay.
For
Lynn, do you know whether the other stakeholders are available, or is this just something that we can handle as a committee? Because as was mentioned, this once the subcommittee reports this out, it will come back to the committee. We will hold a public hearing on this. There will be an opportunity for public comment. So if we just wanted to meet quickly and decide whether we will vote out our the amendments that Lynn has put together for us, we could take care of that, and any changes or any feedback from the groups, the folks who have helped us build this, put together this commission, then I think that would be fine. I'm happy to meet right now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of us, and we can take care of this business as soon, and we can let Senator Baldacci and the remaining members of the State and Local Government Committee adjourn, and then we'll just hang on and finish our work. How's that sound?
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn the State and Local Government Committee?
So move.
Okay.
Second.
Or somebody seconded, and we are adjourned. Have a nice
Thank
day.
you.
Look forward to seeing you guys shortly.
Thank you, guys. See you later.
Lynn, we have Rebecca Graham in the waiting room.
Okay.
There's also a David Cabot.
Yep. Do you all mind if I take 3 minutes and send an email? I'm not sure any of them are actually available, regardless of what time you start. But I did tell them I would email them. So can I send an email and give them 2 minutes to respond? How's that sound?
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna
Everybody
mute
go get a glass of water and we'll be right back.
And just so Representative Head and Representative Bryant, he may not even be paying attention. This is you are more than welcome to stay on, but this is the road subcommittee's meeting that is continuing.
Okay.
I'll be of moral support. I'll hang on then.
Oh, thanks.
I can see that Representative Toole is smiling about that. I'm not sure what that really means.
Oh, I appreciate that. We need all the moral support we can get some days.
Okay. I truly only wanted a glass of water, so I'm back.
So the email has been sent.
Thank you.
I'm here, but I'm just working in the background.
Lynn, would you like me to let the persons in that are in the attendee room?
No, I don't think at this point. I would wait until and see if the committee, subcommittee is going to have questions for
Gotcha.
them.
Okay, thank you.
But I do think that the majority of the ones that were invited to be present are in the waiting room. There's only one that's missing. And I'm not sure that person can attend.
They are all aware that we're having a public hearing as well, so.
Yes.
That point has been conveyed both in the email and when we last met, so. I think today is more just getting to a point where we're ready to formally report.
So Representative Matlack, I think that the individuals who this group asked to invite are here, most of them.
Okay.
The Department of Agriculture, because of the last minute, their representative is not here.
Okay.
But as Representative Toole just said, I did convey to all the people who are interested into the Department of Agriculture and Inland Fisheries and Wildlife that it's likely the full committee will be interested in their input when you report back to them.
Good. At least they know that we're headed this direction. That's an important bit. That they know that this is an ongoing issue and that they probably have a role to play in it, a significant role in some respects.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we all here? Representative Copeland? When you get a minute, there we are. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess I call the meeting to order. There are four of us here. We're only missing Senator Claxton. Lynn has prepared for us the two documents with regard to the discontinued roads subcommittee, the draft report back, and I didn't get that one printed off. What was the other one? The other document was?
The proposed amendment language.
Right, the proposed amendment language. Have folks had an opportunity to read it over, and are there questions? Representative Toole.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I did read it. I thought it, as Senator Claxton had said in his email to all of us, thought it looked very good. It met with what our intentions were when we last met. The only thing I noticed is it's in there with the Department of Jurisdiction is listed as both, and I kind of think we need to settle on one, at least for the purposes of the public hearing. And if it gets changed in a committee amendment throughout the process, that's fine. But I think for clarity's sake, it needs to be one or the other.
Right. If there's more than one in charge, nobody's in charge.
Right.
So you're correct. Lynn, do you have a suggestion for which of the two departments would be best suited for this work?
I don't at this time, but I will say I have talked to the representative from the Department of Agriculture, Conservation and Forestry, and actually he is in the attendee room, as are two individuals from Inland Fisheries and Wildlife. And I did share with all of them the question, which is, how does your department or sub-department interact with this discontinued abandoned roads? And so they would be able now, if you have questions, to give a brief, this is how we think our department interacts in this issue, and that may help you come to a decision. So Brian Bronson is from the Department of Agricultural Conservation and Forestry, and Richard Laflemme and David, I'm going to mispronounce your name, David Chabot. If it's French, that's not me. Those two are from Inland Fisheries and Wildlife. So would you like them to be moved in?
Yes, please.
All right, I think I can do that. Well, I just tried to do that and
They're coming.
nobody.
They're
Oh,
coming.
Oh, there we
okay.
are.
Thank you, Cheryl.
No, you did it. I just saw that they would disappeared.
Okay.
So again,
I was watching.
Brian Bronson is agriculture, and Richard and David are inland fisheries and wildlife.
Gentlemen, welcome to the subcommittee on discontinued roads, part of the State and Local Government Committee. In as much as we've been talking about you, we thought it'd be nice if you came and participated in our conversations. We have, as Lynn has probably explained to you, bumped up against an issue. I'm new to state and local government. This is my first term on there, but others have mentioned that this is an ongoing concern, both with discontinued roads and with abandoned roads, and that your areas of expertise overlap greatly with this. And it might be that one or the other, or perhaps in tandem, you folks could assist in an ongoing commission to deal with issues as they arise. I'm sorry, is it Shabbat or Chabot?
Yes, yeah, Dave Shabbat.
Dave Shabbat.
Myself and Warden LaFlemme there, we're both corporals in landowner relations here with the Department of IF&W. And of course, we work hand in hand with Brian of DACF as well. Brian coordinates the ATV trail system. Brian also works with Joe Higgins, who does the snowmobile system. So Rick and I have a hand-in-hand relationship with both gentlemen from DACF, and we come up across this situation regarding discontinued or abandoned roads so many times, because a lot of our trail systems are utilizing those roadways, right? Whether they be owned by the town, you know, the state, or even the county. So we are actually, we deal with this. Each one of them is unique and different, because no town, no county, no state department has ever done it consistently.
Right.
So we are constantly battling this. This puts a lot of our trail system in jeopardy. And, you know, we thank you very much for the invite. We've done, all of us have done and have situations that our trail system is in jeopardy. The clubs are confused, our towns are confused. And then we have citizens of the state of Maine that are confused and or in desperate need of help because they're living on one of these such roads. And it's hard not to have an answer for them, or a clear-cut way to explain to them, all right, these are the steps you need to take, or even explain to some of these town managers. So we welcome any type of advice we can kind of plug in and give you. Each one of the three of us have more examples than you can probably imagine, considering, like I said, Warden LaFlemme and I, that's our position, right? Is to assist Maine's landowners and also be a kind of a voice for the recreational community as well. And then of course, Brian's constantly dealing with this because he funds these trail systems. So we have a lot of interaction, a lot of knowledge in really reviewing everything from Title 23 law to Title 33 law to Title 12 law. I mean, we're really in depth in this and have a great, I guess, overall in somewhat working knowledge of it. So we're here to help out in any way we can.
Thank you. Have you had the opportunity to read over the draft?
You know, and unfortunately, I haven't received any email. I don't know if it was
Nope, that's
over.
okay.
Okay.
Well, now that you know what we're heading towards, and this is the culmination of our subcommittee's work in trying to wrap our heads around how to deal with this. And it has come to our attention that this really is an ongoing broad need, and it's not going to be handled well with just a single fix. This is something that's continuous, and that is why we are contemplating creating the Commission on Abandoned and Discontinued Roads. And we were hoping to have the input of both of your agencies in making this a successful operation. We just wanted to notify you that we were doing this, and that we had been advised that your help would be greatly appreciated. So what I'm going to say is we'll send you the materials that we are going to finalize today. And then when we have the bill is presented at public hearing, then we will ask for your input on how you can fit into this, how you can assist us, any suggestions you might have for improving this, because as you say, you folks have dealt with this for many years on a direct level, and we're just on the periphery, just dealing with incidents on a regular basis, actually. But I think having you help us craft this ongoing commission will be very helpful for us. Any subcommittee members have questions for these gentlemen? Representative Toole.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I appreciate you folks coming today. I think as we're looking to move this commission forward or make some recommendations to the full committee, I think, Mr. Shabbat, you really laid out the whole issue in a succinct way that nobody has been able to do quite yet. And in my 4 or 6 years on the committee wrestling with this. So, I mean, I think what we're looking for with this commission is to have an agency at the state level to kind of help folks on the commission navigate this and get the most out of it so that we're not having these issues time and again. So, and I know, am I correct in assuming you folks or ACF would be willing to possibly carry that work on in an administrative support sense, provided there was resources to do that?
Oh, absolutely. And both Warden LaFlemme and I, with the Landowner Relations Program, we're more than welcome and have been asked to do so to represent IF&W. So I can let Brian speak about DACF, but IF&W and Landowner Relations, we'd be more than, we would love to have an input and an influence in helping this commission by all means.
Right, and it's mostly, and Brian can answer it as well, but at this point, I think there'll be some basic staff calling of meetings, helping get the commission up and going and lend a little bit of focus to it. I know there are a lot of issues, so.
Yeah, Representative Toole, I mean, you hit it right on the head. There's a lot of issues, and I think you get the people that are very familiar with this, and there's no doubt we can come up with some type of resolution. We've been hashing these out amongst the local and municipal governments for a while and assisting them, and along with assisting the citizens that are affected as well. So I know we're on board on the Landowner Relations Program side, and I'm sure Brian Brian has multiple stories as well, and tell you the truth, his between him and Joe Higgins, the snowmobile club coordinator, a lot of the state funds are actually go into the improvement of these roads. So if we can get some clear direction and some basicness to the municipalities, I think we can make a big jump on where we're gonna progress with this commission. So
Perfect.
Thank you.
Representative Copeland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming before us today. It's a very big problem. It's been going on for way too long, and it keeps getting kicked down the road. So this committee is coming up with a recommendation for the state and local government main committee to set up a commission. So I know you haven't gotten the mailings, but the commission, as we're going to propose it, has 11 members. And
I think we can let the gentleman review our report. I think today what we're going to do is, I'm most excited that these gentlemen already know all the problems. And what I'd like for them to do is to review what we have prepared and make sure it's going to answer, be able to provide the proper answers to the questions that all of us seem to have. And so I'd like to give them the time to work on that and then come to our public hearing when this bill is finally publicized. Mr. Bronson, we have not heard from you yet, nor Mr. Laflamme, but Mr. Bronson, do you have anything to add?
No, not a lot, but I would just say Dave and I were both on the governor's ATV task force, which, you know, ended right ahead of COVID. But and this, you may recall, came to us as part of that, the ATV task force, but we had so much else on the plate that we chose not to add this to that at the time, but it was something we were made aware of then, and it's been an issue for the department here, not only for ATVs and snowmobiles, but honestly, there are state parks, there are public lots where some of these roads, the access and whether it's legal or not legal related to these discontinued roads is a significant issue. And this is the Department of Agriculture, and many of the farmers are having problems too, because, you know, these road systems are out there and people access their fields and can they be blocked or not? So yeah, it's a definite issue that we've been involved with now for some time. There was an individual from the Bureau of Parks, Skip was on, Skip Barney, who's now retired, but probably 6 or 7 years ago, there was a commission or study committee or whatever, and we played a role in that as well. So we're definitely interested and we'll help any way we can.
Thank you so very much. So for gentlemen, thank you so very much for coming here today. For the committee members, I think we're ready to move ahead unless there are any changes. For example, there was one issue that Lynn had about whether it's public comment at every meeting or annually. There aren't that many other issues that we need to address with these. I'm all in favor of public input on an every time you meet basis. So we'll do it that way. Are there any other questions, Lynn, that you needed answered before we vote on this?
No, I do not. Well, the only question would be, what department would you like me to put into the bill as a placeholder for the, because the public hearing will elicit comment. And so I don't know, I guess, which department do you want me to put in the amendment?
How about we go with IF&W? Mr. Shabbat? Is that you? I'm sorry, did I get it wrong?
No, you got my name correct. So as far as, I mean, I don't want to throw my commissioners under the bus or.
Yeah.
I guess, Lynn, what does that really, what does that mean on our behalf?
Yes, thank you. So under the bill as proposed, and you will see it, there are 11 members, and the agency that's identified, which the subcommittee is proposing, would be IF&W. You would be providing support staff, and the subcommittee has realized that there may be a fiscal note attached with that. So you would be kind of the home for this commission of 11 members. The Maine Department of Transportation is part of it. The Attorney General's office is part of it. But it's mainly just kind of overseeing and make sure this commission does its work and supporting if there's reports to be written, which there are every other year.
I know my department, of course, you know, is funding is always a concern, and then the staffing, I'd have to consult with my, you know, neither Rick or I think can make that decision. I mean,
understood.
You know, so I'd have to make sure my deputy commissioner and commissioner would be great with that. It's definitely something. So you essentially you need a department to take ownership of it, and it's going to stay within local and municipal government, but you essentially need a department to kind of oversee it. Brian, I know there was some interest from your department. Was that ever expressed to you?
Well, I know they've told me to play a role, but said that we did not want to share it, and that if we had to provide staff, that there would be some level of fiscal note, and they would have to discuss that depending on what the need was. So it was kind of, I got, late notice, and I haven't seen the amendment. So for us to officially comment on how that works is probably premature, but we are definitely interested in playing some role. But again, I don't speak for our commissioner, so whether it should be our agency or your agency, I kind of was hoping maybe both agencies
Yes.
somehow be involved, because we work together on so many things, and several of these, there are parts of this that would be more appropriate with you guys, and probably parts that are more appropriate with us. But so I don't know if that's a possibility, if the amendment can reference that way, or if it's got to be just one agency.
It doesn't, and if you guys can make it work, then that's the way we could do it also. Now, Mr. Laflamme, we have not heard from you. Thank you for putting your hand up.
Yeah, so I would just like to concur with Brian. Brian's been playing this game a lot longer than I have. I've been in this position now 10 years, and I would concur exactly with what he said. I think if we do move forward with this, I think it would be both agencies, and I think, having the commissioner's discussion between that and the fiscal note and all that stuff, there's so much involvement and there's so many moving parts to this that it's going to take a lot of time and staff to do this. So I would suggest to this committee that, Brian, Dave, myself, and Joe go back and speak with our commissioners and see if that would be something we could jointly do. I think it's too big of a fish for just one agency. I really do.
Okay, and you're absolutely right. So Lynn, the two agencies will get back in touch with you and advise how they think this might be worked out between the two of them together, perhaps. And you could include that in the final draft. But for now, I think we can move forward. We've sort of know the expertise of the people who have asked to participate, and let's see if we can make it a workable commission for them to help with, that will help them, that will help landowners, and will help others who want to be able to use these roads and not damage the property for whomever is adjacent to it. So yes, I know that we're not going to assign, we won't assign today one department or the other. If we could just, work in tandem right now and see how that goes. Are there any other issues that we have with regard to this commission?
That was the main one. You talked about public comments at every meeting. And the only other thing I'll point out is that on the staggered terms, I randomly picked who was 2 years at the beginning and who was 3 years. Not having heard any comment from you all, I'm assuming my random selection is not objectionable.
Probably not. Yeah. So that would be fine. So let's leave it at that. The folks from IF&W and Agriculture will contact Lynn and see if you can work out a way that this might work out between the two agencies, and that there is an annual report back to the state and local government, because we're the agency that we're the committee that has oversights of these sorts of issues. But other than that, yes, ma'am.
I was just going to point out that actually the report back was going to go to state and local and inland fisheries and wildlife, and it also could go to agriculture.
And agriculture?
Yeah, so that if the bill was within their jurisdiction, state and local wouldn't be doing a bill on ATVs. So it was going to go to 2 or 3 committees.
Okay, sounds good. All right, are we there then? Shall we, can I get a motion on approving the report as Mr. Toole?
So moved.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. I guess raise of hands that are all in favor. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're unanimous that we're in favor of this. We really hope it works out with the other 2 agencies, that we'll be able to find a way to deal with this issue that's long and lingering and really annoying to a lot of people. So thank you so very much for your time today.
Great.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Lynn,
You're
are you gonna forward the 3 of us the documents, and we'll
I-
review them, and we'll bring them right to our commissioners and figure this out?
I will do it right after I sign off. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank you
you
for
so-
the opportunity, folks.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Mr. Representative Tool, do you have a comment, or are we all set?
No, I just wanted to thank everyone for getting us to the point where we're at, and excited to have a public hearing in the next few weeks, and hopefully we can get this finalized and on the calendar for additional public feedback.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Lynn, is that all of our business today?
That is all of your business for today.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you folks next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Enjoy the sunshine.